What is happening, everybody? MG here, MG Covers, bringing you a brand new handicapping video. The title of this video is review of my MLB power rankings for April the 19th, which was yesterday. We're going to show you what my lines were compared to the sportsbook lines. Did we have value? Which games won? Which games lost? Really good video. Before we do that, as always, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, greatly appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Appreciate all my subscribers. My channel is a little bit different than most. We don't give out free plays. We talk a lot about the essence of sports handicapping. I give you the unadulterated truth 100% of the time, all the good, all the bad. So if you want to learn, like, hey, what's the real deal with sports betting, sports handicapping, you'll see that at my channel. You'll also learn a lot if you follow me on social media. I'm MGCovers, cover spelled with a Z. That's on Twitter, Instagram. Post a lot on my storylines. So just by following me, you will get a lot of value and content just from simply following me. So without any further ado, let's talk about Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball has made changes this year. If you follow me for any length of time, you notice we've talked about this. Paradigm shift. A lot of home runs were hit in Major League Baseball last couple of years. Major League Baseball has brought in a new ball to make pitching sort of relevant, and it definitely has made an impact. Home runs are down. Pitchers are having an impact on the game more so than they did in the past, which is what the goal of MLB was. So what we're going to do, let's take a look at yesterday. Now, these are my power rankings. I'm going to kind of explain a lot here. So what you're seeing, this is absolutely amazing. Yesterday, out of all, there were 7 games in Major League Baseball. Every single team that was winning after 6 innings went on to win the game. So one thing you're starting to see, if you are in favor of traditional baseball, you're not having these crazy comebacks. Why? Well, home runs are down. And if you make it to the 6th inning and you're winning, there's a high chance of you're going to win that game. And again, like I said, all 7 teams that were winning after 6 innings yesterday went on to win. And you can go back and check previous days as well, and you'll see that to be true. It's hitting about 80 to 90%. Teams that are winning after 6 innings go on to win. So there's 2 things that are happening. Home runs are down. That's going to make it very difficult for a team to come back in those 3 innings. So relief pitching is not as important, right? So what do we need to focus on? Well, we need to focus on those starting pitchers. So the average starting pitcher is going to pitch between 5 and 6 innings on average, and then hitting. So the 2 stats that I've used in my power rankings, we're going to use a hitting stat, along with starting pitching. Now you'll see that first one, what I do is the highest hitting rating is a 60. I think a 63. The lowest is a 38. And for pitching, I use a number of 60 and 40. And what that represents are percentage chances of winning. And then I add those 2, and then I convert that into a money line. For example, if a team is a 50 total, that converts into a money line of plus 100. If a team is a 60% chance of winning, that converts into a minus 150 line. So again, we use a hitting stat, combine that with the starting pitching, because again, most games are decided within the first 6 innings. And one other thing too that's changed, before I forget, I'll go ahead and mention this, is that strikeouts are up. I just posted something on Twitter that Yankees have struck out more batters in the first 10 games of the season than any other Major League Baseball team in the history of baseball. So this ball has a lot more spin on it. If you know anything about golf, I'm a golfer, so golfers are trying to create less spin to make the ball go further. Well, if this ball has more spin, the ball's going to stay in the ballpark. You're not going to hit as many home runs, but that's going to give the pitchers advantage. That's why you're seeing pitchers have a lot better stuff. That's helped starting pitcher, that helps relief pitching, and of course cuts down on home runs. Now you're still going to have, Bryce Harper's going to hit his home runs, Ron Acuna's going to hit his home runs, but you're seeing guys that normally don't have power are keeping the ball in the ballpark, which is what Major League Baseball wanted to do. So let's dive into it and look at my power rankings, and we'll go through each one of these games. So you can see that first game there, Chicago White Sox, just so you're not confused, the hitting rating, Chicago White Sox were 55, really good hitting team. Boston is a 62. That's the highest number that I have for hitting. So Boston, right at as of yesterday, was the best hitting team in Major League Baseball via my power rankings. Their pitchers there for White Sox, 59. For Boston at 56. So you had really good hitting team and a really good pitching team. My power rankings had Boston minus 147, and I think I can see that. Chicago White Sox were minus 133. So Boston just a little bit favorite, were the favorites there. And when you look at the line, you can see that Chicago White Sox were actually the favorite at minus 117. Let's just take one book. Let's just look at Bet Online to keep it simple. Boston was plus 107, so you're getting a ton of value there with Boston, a lot more value than you would with the White Sox, meaning my line is actually you're getting no value there because we had, no, you're getting some value, my bad. 133 with the White Sox, actual line was 117, so you're getting a little bit of value, but the best value there was with Boston. Our line is minus 147. You're getting plus 107, and Boston went on to win that game. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one here. And not a lot, really. San Francisco, not a good hitting team at 42. My power rankings, Philadelphia was a 50. Pretty good pitching, decent pitching on both sides, especially for San Fran. And you can see there San Fran did go on to win that game. Now, this would be a no play via my power rankings the way I teach, meaning my line was San Francisco minus 100. The actual line was pretty close to that, minus 102. You can see there my line for Philadelphia was minus 101, and the actual line was minus 108, so no value there in that particular game. So the way I teach handicapping, that would have been a no play. Moving along, let's take a look at St. Louis and Washington. St. Louis, 44 power ranking hitting. Washington, a really good hitting team at 57. They had pretty good pitching there for Washington. Same deal with St. Louis, maybe a little bit of edge via my power rankings for Washington. So we had Washington total line minus 135, St. Louis plus 108. So this would be a situation where the way I teach, Washington would have been a play, and of course they did end up losing this game. Meaning, so the way I look at this, our line was Washington minus 135. And the actual line was minus 103. I'll show you how I calculate this. If I can pull up my calculator. So what you do, you take the smallest number, put it on top, which is 103. You divide that by the bigger number, which was 135. And that comes to 0.76. You subtract 1, that gives you 24%. So playing Washington, we had a 24% margin. And of course, it lost, and that is normal. So one thing, too, so I don't forget, the approach for Major League Baseball, you're going to have to play volume. You can't cherry pick this like you can, say, NFL or college basketball. Had a really good college basketball year. It's just not a sport that you can cherry pick where you can look at 5 or 6 games. Oh, I'm going to play these 2 games. You're going to have to play some volume. So you can see there the 2 games that we focused on, we would have been 1-1, right? Okay. All right, so Tampa and Kansas City, you can see there neither team hitting the ball really good. Average pitching for both there. Our line for Tampa was 115. Our line for Kansas City was 125. So we had neither team favored. And of course, the sportsbook line had Tampa minus 104, KC minus 106. So this would have been a pass as well. Tampa did win that one 4-1. And just one quick note, you can see there Tampa, our power ranking for hitting was a 44, so the better hitting team won in that case. All right, moving along to Texas and LA Angels here. Interesting game here. Had Texas, not a good hitting team via my power rankings. We had them at a 38. LA Angels, really good hitting team at 59. Both those pitchers were comparable. My power rankings, we had Texas at a 53, LA Angels at a 52. If you add that up, Texas, we had, now this is a really important game because the play would have been the dog, even though they were less via my power rankings. And what I mean by that is Texas, our line for Texas was a plus 122. LA Angels was a minus 122. So you look at the sportsbook line, and again, you can't just look at power rankings without taking a look at the actual sportsbook, because every game, every team is a potential play contingent upon what the actual sportsbook line is. So you can see there, LA Angels are minus 122. So there's no way we would play minus 220. We would be overpaying for that line. Although you see a lot of, that is a big mistake you see a lot of people make in sportsbook and sports betting. There's just no value in that game, meaning we have LA at minus 122. So in order to play the Angels, that line would have to be significantly less than the minus 122 to have value. However, we have Texas at plus 122, but the actual line was plus 196. So we're getting a significant amount of value. And again, how we calculate that, we take the little number, 122, divided by the big number, 196. That is 0.62. So we're getting 38% margin playing Texas. And the way to think about margins, it's the same deal. If you walked into Best Buy and they said, hey, you said, how much are those headphones? They said, these headphones are $196. We have them on sale, 38% off for $122. So that's a 38% discount. Same thing in sports betting. So we have Texas at plus 122. The sports book has them at plus 196. We're getting a significant margin. And of course they did win. So that would have been a nice dog winner there in favor of Texas. Okay, moving along. This was an interesting game here as well. Milwaukee, San Diego. I've talked about this a lot. Starting pitching will be extremely overvalued in Major League Baseball. Always has and always will be. You can see here Musgrove coming off that strong performance. You knew he was going to be overvalued in this one. Everybody had San Diego as the favorite there. BetOnline had them at minus 159. However, if you actually look at my line, two good pitchers on the mound. Average hitting teams, our line for Milwaukee was minus 122. The line for San Diego was minus 117. So one thing too, in sports betting, there is absolutely no way to know if the line that the sports book is showing is a good line or not. How do you know? Well, unless you have your own power rankings that are proven to produce a profit, there's no way to know. And that's what I teach. So you can look at my power rankings, San Diego minus 117. Well, the actual line was minus 161. So if we played San Diego, we would be overpaying for that line. So where was the value? The value was with Milwaukee. We had Milwaukee at minus 122. We had them as a favorite via our power rankings. The sportsbook had them as a dog at plus 147 at BetOnline. So ton of value with Milwaukee there. And of course, Milwaukee did go on to win that game. And then finally, let's look at the Dodgers and Seattle. Dodgers are going to be overvalued probably every game this entire season. It would be hard to make a profit playing Dodgers. You probably had a lot of people play them on the run line last night. That's a big mistake. You see a lot of people, they'll say, oh, the Dodgers are minus, or they'll take a good team to say minus 200. Well, I'll just play them on the run line. I'm assuming the road line was probably maybe minus 1.5, minus 120, 125, even maybe minus 130, not sure. But of course, if you played them on the run line, you would have lost as well. So you look at my line, we had Dodgers, really good hitting team, average pitching. Seattle, decent hitting team, below average pitching there. But when you actually calculate, our line for the Dodgers was minus 120, so no value in playing the Dodgers at all. You look at Seattle, though, plus 108. Now, plus 108 converts into about a 48% chance of winning. So this is what we call sort of a play against. So Seattle still has a 48% chance of winning, which is a decent chance of winning that game. And when you look at the sportsbook line, that was plus 179. So a ton of value there with Seattle. And of course, they did win that game. So you can see there, that's basically how I teach handicapping. When you're looking, it's very similar to just a classic money line. You're going to look at my lines, compare that to the sportsbook lines, try to find value. So in that particular example, we would have had like what, 5 plays, I think, and only had 1 loss there. So I definitely believe this is the way to approach Major League Baseball this year. I think what you're seeing, let me pull this other chart. This is really interesting. You can see there, this is year-to-date trends. This is taking all of the games played year-to-date. This was through this morning, I believe. Favorites are winning 50% of the time. So the majority of people play favorites, right, in sports betting, especially Major League Baseball. So if you're playing favorites right now, or you're subscribing to a service that is playing favorites, you're getting absolutely destroyed in Major League Baseball this year. Now, if you follow me and watch some of the past videos, NHL, completely different beast, right? Favorites in NHL winning about 63%. So in NHL, you have to play favorites, right? Very little underdogs. Well, completely different beast so far in Major League Baseball. So where's the value? The value is playing the underdogs. Underdogs are winning 50% of the time. So any money line over 50%, whether it's 110, 120, 130, 190, you saw there with that Seattle, you're getting a ton of value. And this is what I call a statistical property of the sport. Your sports betting has to align with the statistical property of that sport. If you're playing favorites, they only have a 50% chance of winning. So if you're paying 120, 130, 140 juice, you are going to get absolutely destroyed. Now, this could change, and it will probably increase a little bit towards the favorite side. How much, we don't know. But currently, the way to approach Major League Baseball is to play underdogs, getting a ton of value. They're hitting at about 50% margins. Now, one other thing to show you here before we wrap this up. This was a criterion-based model I came up with last year. I tested last May. And what I mean by a criterion-based model is this model has 3 criteria. And it's a very simplistic approach to sports betting. The college football model that I had, some of you that have followed me are clients. It was a criterion-based model, very successful model. And this is very similar to that. So again, we have 3 criteria. If the team meets that criteria, then it is a play. And you can see there, it's all underdogs. And I think that's 10 and 12. But if you look down at the bottom, it's up 3.1 units. Again, I'm not wagering on Major League Baseball yet, but I do send these plays out daily. Again, just testing baseball. Anytime there's sort of a shift in handicapping, a shift in the sport, you need to be extremely cautious. And of course, Major League Baseball has made major changes with that ball. It's brought home runs down, strikeouts up. It's just a different beast. Underdogs winning 50%. So you definitely want to test any type of model that you have and do what I call ghost wagers to confirm that it's going to be profitable. And so far, this criterion-based model looks very promising and may be how I actually approach the rest of the season. But again, it's 10 and 12, up 3.1 units year to date. So to wrap this up, again, if you're going to play Major League Baseball, need to focus on underdogs. Again, it's probably okay to play some favorites as long as you have value. But again, you need to make sure that at least probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 50%, if not all of your wagers, are going to be dogs. If you're playing favorites, you're going to lose. Now, the power rankings you see there, if you're a client, you have access to that power ranking. These come out daily. You can get access for $29.95 per month. In addition to that, you get access to all of my coaching videos, how to handicap, how to interpret my power rankings, how to handicap Major League Baseball situationally. And so you have access to all that for $29.95 per month. In addition to that, you get access to my NHL models, power rankings, my NBA power rankings. Again, all that's $29.95 per month. If you want access to all my power rankings in addition to my plays that I send out daily, that's $49.95 per month. And if you really want to learn the sports betting business, you can get access to everything on the site, all my power rankings, all my coaching videos, all my plays for a solid year for $2.99. That is incredible value. Also thought I was going to have an increase in my pricing, but I'm not. So that's a ton of value. That would normally be, if you paid that monthly, that would be $600 per year. So that basically cuts that in half. You get $300 access to everything on the site for the entire year. So with that being said, we're going to wrap this video up. Again, be ultra cautious this year with Major League Baseball. Use some of the techniques outlined in this video, or you can subscribe, get access to all of the power rankings updated daily. Hope this helps, and good luck this year wagering on Major League Baseball. Peace.